One of my earliest memories as a child was waiting for MTV to play Toxic, where I would fawn over the campy femme fatale masterpiece that was an early 2000s Britney music video. Before I knew I wanted to be an artist, I wanted to be a pop star, admiring all the women who pioneered the genre of feminine stardom in the music industry. Britney was a part of this personal holy trinity of legends in music, fashion, and celebrity for me, and my unwavering support of her grew the older I became. What I did not anticipate as a young child going into adolescence was seeing the unraveling and attempted destruction of an idol by the media with my own eyes. I was old enough to witness the success, but the ultimate death of the greats like Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, who, up until their final days, were victims of paparazzi harassment and media callousness. I was not present for the long battle that led up to those events until Britney. Britney Spears' highly anticipated autobiography, The Woman in Me, transports you to every pivotal moment documented in Britney's career, but finally, through her perspective. She opens the book by describing the emotional neglect she experienced as a child, up until her described usefulness to her parents manifested through her love of performance and natural work ethic. She shares stories of the Spears lineage, where her grandfather drove his wife to suicide due to his controlling abuse, and how this theme would foreshadow the dark pattern her father would go on to repeat with her in the forced conservatorship. The memoir explores the violent, misogynistic culture of the early 2000s, the propensity of the media to control women in their image without regard of their experiences, and the weaponization of mental health in a capitalistic country. Britney describes every moment in her life where the people around her failed her. From a coerced abortion without medical care, classist remarks about her style of dress off stage, fatphobic criticism of her body post-pregnancy, invasive opinions on status of her virginity and its relation to other little girls around America, while being pigeonholed as the sexiest blonde teen sensation well into her adulthood. Despite having the self-described obedient and non-confrontational demeanor of a regular Southern woman, she was still treated like a warden in her own success, describing many experiences of being physically threatened and painted as an evil villain to the world, all while balancing the expectations her management had for her and never saying no. Britney's accounts of the betrayal start early in her career, when she swiftly goes from America's sweetheart to the #1 enemy for the misrepresentation of her image by a man that she trusted, who she describes as the only family she ever had. Justin Timberlake, you will answer for your crimes. The mistreatment doesn't stop there, as she describes her ultimate meeting and marriage to her ex-husband, Kevin Federline. By this time, Britney explains that she was completely self-isolated because of the media frenzy, having virtually no friends and yearning for any real human connection. Kevin appealed to that need only to later align himself with people who sought to mistreat her, eventually weaponizing Britney's access to her kids, while her parents berated her as a complicit bystander to the constant scrutiny she experienced from the media. False accusations of drug abuse and severe mental illness worsened as she met her breaking point, overwhelmed with grief from being denied access to her children by Kevin and desperate to get away from the watchful eye of tabloids. All of this happened as her daily obstacle was dodging paparazzi, harassing and provoking her, describing many instances of life or death as they scrounged to get that $1 million shot. This book is a first-hand account of a survivor of the culture we look back on in shame, yet see remnants of today when speaking about female musicians. It is melancholic to have grown up witnessing such mistreatment of an artist I admired, only to see the pattern of coverage repeat itself for female artists in my adulthood. A woman's beauty and sanity is called into question when she decides to deviate from the male gaze. A woman's legitimacy is argued when confessing to being a victim of violent behavior by a man. Their worth is questioned when they aren't appealing to consumer demand, and many female artists are met with the removal of their humanity when doing something against the status quo, rather than extending empathy to the difficult expectations they are always measured against. We are allowed to be successful, but still forced to be subservient to everyone ahead of us. Despite all of the independent accomplishments made by women and feminine representing people in entertainment, the mistreatment of successful women bleeds into our society, creating a constant cycle of abuse. Why do women's biggest obstacles as musicians have to be a violent institution actively trying to get that final report of their demise? And how do we as consumers contribute to this demand? As we await part 2 of her book and witness cultural critics being forced to look at their perpetuation of misogyny towards Britney over the years, I hope that the next conversation can be about the revolutionary impact that Britney has had in music and a welcoming for her comeback when she feels equipped.